Hello YouTube, it's your boy Nathan coming to you to do another recap video. Today we are talking 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After Season 9 Episode 15. Not a kid anymore, Dorothy. So we're just gonna get on to it. Yeah. First couple I want to talk, I always start with them to get them out the way. It's Darcy and Georgie. So Darcy and Stacy have like basically a fashion show coming up for their businesses in New York. We've seen it on Darcy and Stacy in over the years that they do stuff like that. But Darcy and Georgie are still on edge on what happened coming back from Bulgaria, basically. Um, we seen Darcy like wake up and cutting some onions, look like she was crying because she was cutting up the onions. And her and Georgie had like a little quick moment with that to kind of half-ass apologize about what's been going on, basically. But we really didn't get nowhere. So they fly out to Connecticut to see Darcy and Stacy's father, who I love, and Darcy's daughters, Annika and Aspen, who I also love. With Darcy being on the TV for so long, her daughters have grown. They were like 11, 12, 13 when we first met them, and now they're in college. Like, time has flown by. But, so, and Annika and Aspen said that they haven't seen their mother in a month. So, I mean, I know they're at college and stuff, but I don't know. It's just, I know like Darcy does a lot, and these girls are okay, but I'm a mama's boy myself, and going a month without seeing my mother would just really hurt me, in my opinion. So, so yeah, I mean, but it's whatever. So Darcy and Stacy's father he's been sick. Now on the very last season of Darcy and Stacy, he did like pass out and had like a stroke, but he did recover from that. And he does have cancer now, which is sad. So we're praying for the father. He decided to have a conversation with Darcy about like everything that's going on with her and Georgie, basically. And basically, Darcy drops a bomb on Georgie, saying that their lease in Miami is coming to an end, and she's thinking about wanting to move back to Connecticut. And she just dropped this bomb on Georgie. So like, what? Like, he has a job down there. And Georgie's like, this is so hypocritical because she's always complaining I'm not telling her about things and doing things behind her back. And look what she's just doing, basically. But the father shut that down quick. Her father was like, no, because if you and Georgie, because she's like, I want to move back here into this house in my room. And the father's like, no, because if you come, Georgie comes. And if you and Georgie come, then Stacy and Flora are going to come. Because anything you do, Stacy does. Anything Stacy does, you do. Thank you. Thank you. Father finally split in facts. Somebody finally need to put them in this place, finally. So he also mentioned that about what we talked about last week with the texting, putting Georgia on group text, and he was like, you need to quit doing that. You guys need to communicate better with your husbands. You guys both need to step up, him and her, and everything, and not put me in a group chat and everything. And she was just like, well, he needs to take accountability and pay for things and everything. I'm like, no, well, yeah, but you don't need to include your father on a group text with your husband to help pay for something. That's just childish. And the fact that you didn't even recognize it shows a lot, basically. So they have more conversations about, is he in it for the long run? They're still arguing over money. And so after that conversation, they're off to New York, basically, and Darcy and Georgie and Stacy and Flora in the car. And then Stacy once again brings up the conversation to Georgie about the father, and Georgie is just irritated at this point, and so would I, because nothing he does is just good enough. Because he even said that Darcy only tells her father all the bad things going on. She never tells him the good things, and so there's always two sides of the story. He only hears Darcy's side, and he's always going to take, and it's always going to be about Darcy's right and I'm wrong all the time. And I feel for him on that, because that's really not fair. It's really not fair for him to go through that. So I'm really been feeling for Georgie. I mean, is he the best? No, but dealing with Darcy and just the way she acts and the way that she just brings up stuff in front of the kids and everything and other people, it's just embarrassing and emasculating in my opinion. So yeah, but yeah, that was Darcy and Georgie. Next couple I'm going to talk is the triple threat couple, Elizabeth and Andre, Lauren and Lexi, and Jovi and Yara. So they're still on their little ski trip. We pick up where we left off in the last 2 weeks with Yara still upset with Jovi because the comment he made about her pictures being different from before. Everybody's grilling Jovi for how he said that, and Yara's crying. He tried to go comfort Yara, and she's just not having it. And yeah, we just got nowhere basically with that. And so basically, Yara decides to go to bed. Jovi's like, I'm going to go to a bar, basically. And Elizabeth and Andre and Lauren like to go back to their room and call it a night and everything. I guess Elizabeth and Andre got their groove on, basically, and apparently Jovi could hear it. Interesting. So the following day, the guys and the girls separated. They wanted to have a girls' day out and a guys' day out. The guys just went out and just did more skiing stuff and everything, had a good time. The girls did a little bit of shopping, basically. And Yara says sometimes shopping is better than sex and everything. And when you buy a Rolex or whatever, it's like the best thing ever. Okay, if you say so. So anyway, but there's still that tension now between Lauren and Elizabeth. Now, Andre and Alexi are not really focusing on it, but Lauren is still really hooked on this. So they're sitting at lunch, and Yara's happy to be around the girls and everything. And she was like, I'm battling myself with Jovi basically, but I'm glad that you girls are out here. You guys are both worried and everything and stuff. But then that topic gets brought up again. And so Lauren says, Elizabeth, it really still does hurt to see you and everything, considering what happened. And Elizabeth was just like, what did I actually do, basically? And Lauren's just being like, she is so in denial. She don't see anything that you did wrong. You told everybody at the launch party that my husband body shames me, and it wasn't like that. And I don't believe Andre reads our text from 2 years ago, basically. So Elizabeth was like, you know what? I care about you deeply, more than what you may think. I feel like at this point now you should have a conversation with my husband, basically. And I don't wish any ill will on you and everything, but you need to, at this point, have a conversation with him. So, but judging by the previews, though, I liked Elizabeth, but she's starting to be a little bit more shady. She, judging by the previews for next week, she's going to be telling Yara that Lauren said something about her now, and that's just going to start some BS. I'm like, what the heck? What the heck? Now, I do know in modern day, Elizabeth and Lauren are not friends. They're not friends. Elizabeth is still friends with Yara. I mean, Lauren is still friends with Yara, but Elizabeth and Lauren are not friends. Lauren did a question in there, and someone asked, are you and Elizabeth still friends? And she was like, nope. And she flat out answered, she's like, nope. I got one friend, and she pictured Yara. So, yeah. Typical BS. High school childish BS, in my opinion. Mean girl mentality, drama. Come on, people, please, just grow up. Just grow up. Please, just grow up. So, yeah. Next couple I want to talk is Brandon and Julia. So, last week, Julia came back from taking her parents back home to Russia. And she said, we're going to go to this European trip. Really, it was an Asian trip. With or without you. Brandon said he quit his job and he's going to do it. But now he has to tell the parents about it. So the parents come over. Brandon's parents come over. and he hadn't told them that he quit his job yet. And Brandon breaks the news like, we're going, and they're like, oh, you're going, okay. And they were like, yeah, we're gonna sell her house in Russia. And then they just went off like Ron. Normally Betty goes off hard, but Ron was going off really hard. He was like, I don't even know who you are, Brandon. Like, what are you doing? And this, and that. And then he was going after Julie. Like, Julie, you're causing a wrench in our religion. And this, like, we're family. And Julia's like, look, yes, we're family, but you guys are, but Brandon's my family too. You guys need to take a step back and everything. And then Miss Betty says, if you feel like that, then maybe you should go to Russia and everything. And then Julia's like, respectfully, F off, F you. And like Ron is just going after Brandon. He's like, I taught you better than that and everything. Like, do you guys have a plan? He's like, none. Brandon was like, no. They were like, do you have your tickets bought? Like, yeah. When you leaving? In a couple days. Okay. How long you gonna be there? I don't know. And they do make some good points with that. You got to have a better plan at this. I mean, me personally, this is, I do agree with the parents that this is a bad idea, but at the same time, it's their life. But at the same time, I also do see their point, Brandon and Julia's point too. It's just the fact that one last major adventure before we settle down and have a family, which I'm thinking that since Julia's pregnant and about to give birth, that this baby was conceived on this trip that they went. So Ron and Betty are just going off, and then they were just like, okay, I'm done. Have a nice life. And Brandon's like, y'all leaving? Like, yeah, well, you're leaving. So then Brandon breaks down and they leave, and Brandon breaks down and starts crying. He's like, I can't please anyone. I'm losing my parents. If I go with you, I'll go with you, I'll lose you. I don't know what to do. And when he was doing that, I'm just thinking, Brandon, I mean, I feel for you, but I don't think Julia cares. Like, I really don't. And she was just like, well, we're going to go on this trip. When we'll get back, we'll try to fix the relationship with the parents, but we got to do this for ourselves and everything. I feel bad. I feel bad, but you know what? But at the same time, Ron and Betty, they can get mad about this all they want and everything. We know that everything's all daisies and roses with them. They ain't gonna let Brandon go. But it was just interesting to say, this is not like Brandon. This is not like you. I raised you better than this and everything. I was cracking up. So yeah, that was Brandon and Julie. And the last couple we got to talk is Jasmine and Matt. So we picked off where we left off last week after Jasmine got that voice call from Gino that he's already on the immigration, this and that. Now Jasmine's like freaking out basically. And so Jasmine decides to call Gina's cousin-in-law, Michelle. And, Michelle said, like this is unfortunate. Like, I understand Gina. She actually finally defended Gina for once. I do understand how Gina feels, because this is unfortunate. But I do understand how you feel too, and he needs to take accountability on his part of the demise of the relationship. So Jasmine and Matt decide that they're going to go to a lawyer to see what they can do. Matt, prior to this, Matt is just like, Jasmine, you really got to try to get a divorce from Gino. And, at Jasmine's like, oh, I'm pregnant. I got other things to worry about. I might get deported, this, and that. I'm like, well, Jasmine, if you don't want to get deported, then I think trying to divorce Gino will help your case. So they go to the lawyer. And Jasmine has to break the news, has to break down the whole storyline to the lawyer that, hey, I was brought here from Panama from another guy named Gino. We got married on the K-1 visa. We weren't being intimate, so we decided to have an open marriage. We agreed to Matt. And the therapist was like, well, I can see there's a bump there. Yes, basically. I mean, not the therapist, the lawyer. And the lawyer just like, she was just shocked. She was just like, I had clients coming all the time. This was shocking. I did not expect Jasmine to tell me all of this, basically. Yeah, it's not an ideal situation. So here's the thing that kind of surprised me. And I did hear a rumor about this before, and now it's confirmed. Since Jasmine and Matt moved to Florida from Michigan, Florida in the eyes of the law in the state of Florida, since Jasmine is still legally married to Gino, but she got pregnant by another guy, technically, since she's still married, Gino could still be the father of the baby, not biologically, but can have the name on the birth certificate and stuff. And I did not know that. Now, Florida be having some really crazy like dating laws and marriage laws and everything, but that's crazy. And so Matt, when the lawyer told that, Matt was just starting to freak out, and Matt's finally starting to show some emotion. Finally, he's like, so this happens. I gotta take Gina to court, and there's a possibility that he could win like over my child, basically. I mean, that ain't fair, but but you know what? Florida got them rules though. So now Matt's upset. So the lawyer told Jasmine asked the lawyer like, what's the best thing that in the perfect world? The perfect world is that you need to quickly get divorced by Gino, marry Matt, and then you'll be safe from immigration, basically. But you don't have that much time because you're about to have the baby. If you do get deported, then the baby is not going to be a U.S. citizen, basically, and everything. So now her and Matt are trying to scramble to try to figure it out. And Matt did bring up a good point. He's like, Gino makes these threats all the time, but he's all bite and no bark, basically. So, but the situation now is a little bit more scary because now an unborn child is involved. Now, we all know Jasmine and Matt are together still in America. So, but I think I agree with Matt. He is all bite and no bark, bark and no bite, or whatever how you say it, basically. So Jasmine and Matt go back home. Jasmine's emotional. Matt confesses his love for her and that he's going to be there for her and the baby and everything, and ain't going to really leave Jasmine's side. So that was sweet. So finally we're getting the soft side of Matt instead of that arrogantness that we saw in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, I mean that's unfortunate. That's crazy about like Gina could still be the father of the unborn child in the eyes of the law in the state of Florida. I'm like, y'all need to get out of Florida because like prior to like I said, I've heard all kind of crazy like marriage laws and rules that the state of Florida has. So it's pretty serious. Now, Jasmine took to social media to mention this, and she said that please don't judge. Now, Jasmine, don't tell us not to judge. We've been judging you for the last 5 years. Don't tell us not to judge, okay? This is judgeable. You come here. I'm sorry you and Gina were not intimate. We're sorry. But you wanted an open marriage. You already had a guy picked out and everything. And you broke the rules. You say you didn't, but you did. You broke the rules. You got pregnant with another dude. Now you got to deal with these consequences. Your consequences reflect your actions. So, and then you're asking people not to judge. Like, I understand like a lot of these 90 days, they have to really like clear the air on after every episode. They have to go to social media and clear up some things that they did not show, or if it's more that it's not as bad as it was shown and stuff. I get that because these shows are heavily edited and stuff. But in Jasmine's case, don't tell us not to judge, Jasmine. I mean, and I don't like really being all that judgmental. I'm a Christian man and everything, and I pray for everybody and stuff and everything. But even as Christians, we're more judgmental than anybody and stuff, and we need to do better from that. I agree. But but when you got people like recapping the show like I do and everything, and you see like these like weird things that these people do in these relationships and stuff, this one was just ideal not to judge. So Jasmine, don't tell us not to judge. We're judging. I'm sorry, we're judging, and you look terrible. Like, I mean, not look like you sound terrible, basically. So the situation is not ideal. We're happy that you and the baby are okay. Now, y'all notice that I don't talk much about her other kids in Panama. I let the other YouTubers do that, but let's not forget that. Just saying, I don't like to bring that up, but just got to think about that. So, yeah. Sorry, I had a cough drop, so chewing that. But yeah, that was basically it. So yeah, I don't know if we're gonna see Karen Guerrero back on 90 Day this season, or Tiger Lily and Adnan. We'll probably see them all at the tell-all. I don't know how many episodes we got left before the tell-all. Maybe like 4. Before we have a 4 or 5 part tell-all, basically. So we're winding down to the end of this season, which I'm happy about. So, and then we'll get ready for, hopefully, I think before the 90 will come back and everything by November, basically. So yeah. So yeah, we didn't, and we also didn't see Gina in this episode. So yeah, I don't know how much longer we all got here. So, but yeah, so that was it. That was all the couples. Like it's just all narrowed down now at this point. We're almost at the end of the season, thank God. Now, in previous Happily Ever After seasons, I've been so cringe. Like in season 6, 7, and 8, it was just so cringe. I will admit that this hasn't been a really cringy, too much of a cringy season like in the past. It has its moments, and it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for Darcy and Georgie, because they're the ones that make me cringe the most this season. So yeah. But anyway, guys, that is the end of my review here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be back on tomorrow to recap 90 Day the Other Way. So be on the lookout for that. Until then, y'all stay safe and have a good one. Bye, y'all.